Melbourne property is holding its value. Let's take a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I thought we'd have a look at another article from Domain. They seem to be, providing us with conflicting information for some reason. You've got some articles telling you about FOMO, some articles telling you now is the time to buy, other articles saying that we'll only just experience a 10% drop, 20% at worst. And then others telling us that, property's potentially going to go down. There'll be more desperate buyers once the eviction memorandum ends and once the ramifications of the economic lockdown are felt wider, when JobKeeper disappears and the mortgage holiday disappears as well. But then we also have pieces like this, where they're discussing how Melbourne house prices are holding up despite the pandemic. So it really does seem like a grab bag of property bulls telling us a whole series of different things, or trying to spin a positive message onto property, which I can understand, particularly if you have a house in one of the nice parts of Melbourne. We'll have to see. Here we go. Here's a unit at the rear. So let's have a look, guys. Melbourne's house prices are holding strong, with new data revealing properties are not yet being discounted by as much as they were last year. Well, it's because I'd argue we're not feeling the real ramifications of this economic lockdown. It hasn't filtered through yet. We didn't have JobKeeper in the last recession. You've also got a generation that don't know what a recession actually is, that have never experienced one. The latest figures from Domain show that despite the economic uncertainty the pandemic has brought to the property market, the average discount, the difference in the price a house or unit was advertised for and the amount it sold for, has risen by just 0.4% since March. Okay, so that doesn't tell us that the prices are holding up. If anything, that says prices are going down. And perhaps the advertised price, perhaps agents are telling people sell now, you need to go lower than your expectations at the beginning because the market is soft. There's not as many buyers out there, or the buyers have more freedom now, more flexibility. So this only a 4% decline. So I'd argue that prices are already lower. Aren't they saying 10%? Some suburbs 15%. It's interesting how they're spinning a process. They're saying they're holding up because it's only down 0.4%. I just find that funny. Wow, that's impressive. That takes skill to spin it like that. Good work, Melissa. Domain senior research analyst Nicola Powell said the results revealed how well Melbourne's prices were holding up, even in the face of a ban on public auctions to prevent the spread of the pandemic. Melbourne discounts remain lower than a year ago, Dr. Powell said. It's a poignant comparison, given that it was a price trough in the 17-19 downturn, where discounts reached over a 5-year high. Yes, is it discounts or is it the actual price of the property? That's the thing. Dr. Powell said the regions of Melbourne that relied most heavily on public auction sales were being the hardest hit by discounts. Those with markets that relied on interstate holiday makers and international buyers, like the Mornington Peninsula, had also seen higher discounts. So remember, this is the price discounting. This isn't the actual price. So, in April last year, they were discounting 8.24%. Now it's only 6.8%. So it doesn't tell us if they've already come to the market with more reasonable expectations and only have to hit it like that, as opposed to, in April, they probably had somewhat more unrealistic expectations. Maybe what this is actually telling us is that the expectations of the sellers are more closely aligned with where the market is. So they're not having to adjust as much. So is that a fair argument, everyone? What do you think about that interpretation of the data? It doesn't sound as positive, does it? But I think it seems to make sense. Maybe people are starting to be more realistic. The Inner East region, which includes Kew, Camberwell and Ashburton, had one of the largest rates of discounting in April. On average, houses were discounted by 7.9% and units by 6.9%. This equates to one... I mean, this is the thing. Calling it discounting, it's just a misalignment or an inflated valuation of the property compared to where the market is. That's what it is. Okay? It's not really discounting. I mean, okay, yeah, still. They're having to meet the market. They're overinflated valuations of their little hovels. So this equates to a $114,000 discount on the inner east house price, median of $1.4 million. Bloody hell. And a $38,000 discount on a unit for $552. Why? Damn, those are expensive houses. The inner region, which includes Elwood, Brunswick, and North Melbourne, recorded an average discount of 6.8%, an $88,400 reduction on the region's $1.3 million house price. Meanwhile, in the outer regions, such as Melbourne's West, house prices were being discounted by an average of 5.26% and units by 6.03%. Some of the lowest discounts across Melbourne in April. Yes, because sellers understand what's going on. You talk to agents. Another viewer was talking to agents, and they were telling him, push now, sell now. 6 months' time, you'll have people that are forced sales. That's going to affect property prices. I don't know. I'm not seeing this as an argument for the robustness of Melbourne property. I'm seeing this as sellers coming to the market a little bit more sensibly than they were in 2019. So this equates to a $32,000 concession on the median house price of $620,000 and $27,000 for a $450,000 unit. $620,000 for a place out in Western Melbourne. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of hours. And remember, that's in your after-tax income. You've still got to work for the state, for a third of the year at least. So here we go. Barry Plants, Melton's Ned Nikolic said buyers were still keen to get into the market in Melbourne's outer west despite the pandemic. First home buyers, investors and upgraders are still in the market, he said. Marshall White, Stonington director and auctioneer, John Longanoro, I buggered that, sorry mate, said fewer buyers and even fewer properties were helping to keep prices steady in Melbourne's ritzy inner city suburbs. There's not a lot of discounting going on, he said. By and large, the people who are selling are probably being more realistic with prices than ambitious like they were before the pandemic. Exactly. He's right there. That's it. Or at least that's my interpretation of this data. So we've got to be careful, guys. We've got to be careful with everything that's being put out there because it's going to have a psychological impact on people. So that's just something you need to be aware of, particularly if you're friends with someone who's trying to get into the market. Make them aware of how this is being phrased. So they've spun a positive tale over something which I would say is showing that buyers are coming to the table a little bit more sensibly. He said there were now some frustrated buyers in the market unable to find a suitable property as potential vendors waited to see what happened. Biggin and Scott Richmond, director and auctioneer, Russell Cambridge, said agents were now praying for public auctions with social distancing to be allowed again. The New South Wales government announced on Sunday it would allow on-site auctions to resume after this weekend. It shows you, doesn't it? It shows you. They're allowing auctions before other social activities. What does that tell you about Australia, guys? What's important to us? We're property obsessed here. I think because the auction market has been on hold, agents have been putting a price on homes to negotiate from, Mr. Cambridge said. Oh, so they've had to actually do their job. Like in other states. In private sales, there's going to be some negotiation, which could also be the reason that it seems discounts are there. Yes, that's why I like private sales. I can't even imagine going to an auction for a house. It just seems crazy. Buyer's agent Kate Bakos said while there had been discounts, the past 2 weeks had seen them ease as the number of homes on the market fell. The challenge would be in the coming months as government initiatives like JobKeeper payments and bank mortgage holidays were withdrawn, she said. Exactly, so people will wait. People will wait. I mean, if I was looking at buying another property, I would be waiting right now for that. Definitely waiting to see what would happen. We have supply shortage now, but we cannot be completely confident that some distressed sales won't occur in the later half of 2020. But right now, bargains aren't out there that they were a few weeks ago. That particular ship has sailed. So, here we go. An alternative to the piece that we read yesterday regarding, now's the time to buy. Apparently, the ship sailed. But then again, remember, the article we looked at yesterday was written on the 5th, and the one we looked at today was written on the 4th. It's funny how it changes so quick. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. If you're a fan and you want to support us, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us via our affiliate links at Amazon or eBay, or Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. We've got Gold Pass from the Perth Mint. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays, or support us via PayPal. Thanks, guys. Have a great day, and take care.